Let's be honest, there's no guidebook when it comes to relationships. So we end up having to stumble through life trying to figure things out for ourselves. What if there was a podcast that found the answers for you, that provided insight to build a successful relationship and ultimately find the companionship you've always hoped for? Welcome to the Girls Ask Guys show, where we answer the questions most people are afraid to ask when it comes to lessons in life and love. It's time to master this thing called life together with your hosts, John and Ashley.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Girls Ask Guys show. This is our new format, the 10-minute Tuesday. So we're going to have you in and out real quick. We're going to jump to the topic and hopefully answer the question and let you get on with the rest of your day.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, with you guys have questions, we have quick answers. And as soon as we answer them, we're going to say, you know what, guys, that's it. And we're going to sign off.
Yep, that's it. And we will have our heavier topics on Thursday, the ones where we kind of go a little bit deeper into it and hopefully stay somewhat on track while having a little bit of fun and giving you a little bit of education at the same time. We have a question today, which is one of those that we've kind of covered in the past. We've gone over it, talked about it, but as far as addressing it as a full show, it's kind of hard to do because it's such a quick and simple, easy answer.
Right, exactly. It's very simple, very easy. And so we figure we'll do it today.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and do it today. Before we get to that, we do want to ask you, go out, push the subscribe button. If you can, please give us a rate and review. I know if you're listening on Spotify, it's kind of hard to do. You can't do it on mobile, so you kind of have to be over on the actual desktop version. But that's okay. You can still subscribe to us on that platform. So please, go out, take care of that. We'd really appreciate it because it really does help us out. So with this, we're going to answer, is vulnerability and emotions weak?
Ugh. This question is so problematic in like 17 different ways, but just to go into it, the person says, a few days ago, I asked a question that discussed male vulnerability and emotions. There were many men either blatantly stating or strongly implying that such qualities are weak. Why is it that parts of our society become baffled when women/feminists also see vulnerability and emotions as weak for themselves? They complain women are trying to be like men. Well, yeah, they will when you act like femininity and qualities associated with femininity are genuinely weak, which I think is a really good point. If you want women to understand that femininity isn't weak, then act like it. No, I really enjoy it. Let me just stop and say, I enjoy this concept so much because this woman is putting it to the male's face. Listen, you're saying that this isn't weak, but when women do it, you're saying that we're being weak. So either put up or shut up. And I really, really enjoy the way this question is worded. I think it's wonderful. Kudos to you. Her name's Miss Ash, so she's already great in my book. And it's just phenomenal.
Really, a lot of guys, they chimed in and they're like, no, it's not weak. And we've gone over this in the past. And I know over in England, it's almost like an unwritten code. Guys have to act a certain way. And right. If they don't act that way, well, then you are considered as a weak individual. And in the United States, there's certain pockets and areas around the country that is, if you act this way, yeah, you're considered a weak individual.
Right.
The only problem is that if you show no vulnerability, then there's no way that somebody can live up to your standards.
Absolutely.
And you see it all the time. Go watch some action movie. And you got the big burly guy, he's battling forces that are beyond his control. It's one man against the world kind of bullshit. Right. But eventually, somewhere in there, he breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he do that? Because you are able to connect with the character and his internal battles.
Yep.
You have to have vulnerability in there somewhere.
And it's just not human. I don't know a single human. I think I've maybe met one or two people who just seem to have literally no emotions. I think the problem is that we pretend like all of these things are weak. So we don't, we live this superhero narrative of it's us against the world. We can't break down. We can't cry. We can't do all those things. And then eventually you get to your breaking point. You just lose your shit. Whereas if you're continually being vulnerable, and by the way, vulnerable does not mean you are oversharing. You are constantly crying. It just means you're able to emote appropriately at the appropriate time. That's what vulnerability is. So I think another thing we can do is change the definition.
Yeah. I mean, it's being able to show that, like, I don't do snakes, period. Okay?
Really? That's funny.
I don't like snakes. And, like, when I was in the military, well, I don't know what it is about the military, but they pick the crappiest piece of land that nobody fucking wants and puts a base on there. So when we go to the field, guess what? There's all kinds of snakes and everything else. I remember being in boot camp, and I was West Coast, that's MCRD San Diego. Well, for our second phase, for our field phase, MCRD doesn't have any of that. The airport's is like right next door to us. So we go up to Camp Pendleton. That's where we do our field phase. And you're sleeping out there in the sticks, or, well, little sticks. It's fucking desert. And we go to sleep in our little pup tents that have no floor. And my roommate or my tent mate, he wakes up and he's like freaking the fuck out. Yeah, a snake had crawled up inside of his bag.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. So I get out there, go get the drill instructor. Drill instructor comes back. They know what to fucking do. And I'm like, nope.
That's it.
I don't do snakes.
Yeah, and that's vulnerability. Vulnerability is just saying, listen, I'm scared of this shit. And being able to admit it without having to be afraid that someone's going to make fun of you. I think that's where that lack of vulnerability, that fear to show weakness really comes from, is this idea that if you show weakness, you're a bitch, or you're this, or you're that, but really you're a human. Everybody has fears. Everybody has weaknesses. Yeah. I mean, I'm not necessarily afraid of snakes, but I'm very afraid of panthers. And that's because I'm from Florida. Let me tell you, you want to see something scary? Yeah. Watch a goddamn panther run.
Yeah. Panthers are not little cute kitty cats.
No. Oh, God. We have bobcats. Dude, one time, and this is just because my fear of wild animals is so real. There was a fucking bear walking down a main road, and I would not leave my house until that thing was captured.
There was a movie, and John Cena, a lot of people recognized him. I mean, big, buff, burly guy. Yeah. WWE, nothing's going to fucking temper him. He almost quit a movie because he has a fear of heights. And the scene called for him to be dangling off of a fucking building by a little rope. He almost walked off the fucking movie.
Hell yeah, dude, fear is real.
But when you have that vulnerability, but you face the vulnerability and you kind of push through it, well, now you're a courageous individual. Mm-hmm. So... yeah, I'm still not going out there camping with a bunch of fucking snakes. It's not happening.
Exactly. If I hear a bear is walking down my street again, I'm going to lock my doors, because I think it's not irrational to be afraid of a bear just casually walking. And also, I think it's very Florida for a bear to just be fucking casually walking. Nobody does anything. But yeah, to get back to vulnerability, that's the thing. We're able to be vulnerable. And when we're able to do that, you guys see us and you listen to us, you're like, I can relate to that. And that's all vulnerability is. It's not crying. It's not having crazy mental breakdowns every week and all of those things. Yeah. It's just being human and embracing the fact that you are human and that you have fears and you have things that make you happy, things that make you scared, things that make you cry. I mean, it's kind of like, when someone dies and everyone tells you to stay strong, and let's say it's like your mom or your best friend or someone you really care about. What the fuck are you staying strong for?
Yeah. I mean, the only time I would say vulnerability becomes a weakness is when you let those emotions dictate your life.
Absolutely.
I'm still not going out camping with snakes. It's not happening.
It's not happening. No, I don't blame you. Like,
yeah, do you know how much anti-venom fucking costs to get an anti-venom? If you make it to the hospital to get anti-venom, it's about $20,000.
I saw the show called Snake Salvation where they would pray with snakes in their hand, rattlesnakes, and they were snake taming. And I was like, fuck that. And I'm not afraid of snakes, but I won't put myself in the way of one.
Yeah, I'm not petting one. I'm not holding one. I don't fucking like snakes.
They're more afraid of you than you are of it. Bullshit.
Still gonna have to call. Yeah, they go, let me bite you, motherfucker.
Like, I fucking hate people.
What the hell am I going to do?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what vulnerability is, guys. It's not weakness. And we can even laugh about our vulnerabilities. We can laugh about the idea of me not going outside in the dark because I live in Florida and there's these things that growl. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm not even afraid of robbers. I'm afraid of being bitten by a panther. That's a real fear.
Well, they look at you and go, lunch.
Yeah, exactly. And people are like, they're just kitties. Like, they're not.
No, they're not cute little cuddly things.
Right. I can pick a cat up. Okay.
Yeah. But there you have it. There's vulnerability and weakness. Don't let your emotions dictate your life and you won't be weak.
But experience them. Feel them.
Yeah. Admit to them because that makes you human and that's something that somebody else can actually work with you on. Maybe not cure you, but make you at least a little bit more comfortable. Or at least they know, okay, I'm not going to put this person in that position. I'm not going to go on a date and somebody who's scared of heights, I'm not going to take them on a damn roller coaster.
Right? I mean,
that's just being insensitive.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it's about. And knowing your vulnerabilities will not put you in positions like John said, he's afraid of snakes. So if a girl's like, hey, let's go to the zoo, she's not going to go into the reptile pit with John. John's like, what? Why would she do that?
Yeah, she can go in there. She can look at all the snakes and everything. I'll go look at the spiders. I don't like spiders, but it's less than snakes. Their fangs they don't poke holes in you.
That's hilarious. Well, there you have it, guys. So vulnerability in 10 for, what is it, 10 and Tuesday? Tuesday and 10?
Yep. Yeah, 10-minute Tuesday. So
10-minute Tuesday. There we go. Yeah, so just be vulnerable, live your life, experience your emotions, and don't be weird about it, and everything will be good.
Yep. And with that, we will catch you on the next one.
That's all for this episode of the Girls Ask Guys show, where all of us learn to master this thing called life together. For more answers to your questions on life and love, be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss a single episode. And head to girlsaskguyshow.com to submit your questions for a future episode or apply to be a guest on the show. Good luck out there, and we'll catch you next time, right here on the Girls Ask Guys show.